Now, within the brain, nicotine binds to this alpha-4 beta-2 receptor in various locations in the brain. When you ingest nicotine by smoking nicotine-containing tobacco, or if you place tobacco in contact with the mucosal lining of the nasal passages of the mouth, it takes about 2 to 15 minutes for that nicotine to enter the bloodstream. Smoking hits the bloodstream faster, vaping even faster for a variety of reasons, and placing tobacco directly in contact with the mucosal lining is going to be the slowest. Nicotine gets into the bloodstream, and then because nicotine can pass through the so-called blood-brain barrier, the BBB, which is basically a fence around the brain, because it can pass through the blood-brain barrier, it's going to have very rapid effects on the brain in these 4 major categories of neurochemicals and neural circuits. All human beings should know that within their brain, they have what is called the mesolimbic reward pathway. The mesolimbic reward pathway, if you just want to call it the dopamine reward pathway, is, as the name suggests, a set of connections between a brain area called the ventral tegmental area. The ventral tegmental area, or VTA, connects to another area called the nucleus accumbens. Now, here's what's very important. Nicotine triggers the release of dopamine from the nucleus accumbens. This is what gives nicotine its rewarding properties. It increases motivation. It tends to give a not so subtle, but very transient increase in feelings of well-being and alertness and motivation. And that's because of the increase in dopamine caused by nicotine directly within the nucleus accumbens. Nicotine also triggers the release of certain neurochemicals from the ventral tegmental area itself, and those impinge on nucleus accumbens and increase dopamine levels further. This is what makes the rewarding properties, or sometimes referred to as the reinforcing properties of nicotine, so powerful. This is why so many billions of people ingest nicotine in one form or another. It's also why nicotine is so hard to quit, because there's a potent increase in dopamine from multiple neural circuit pathways within this mesolimbic reward circuitry. Within the mesolimbic reward circuitry, there's an interesting feature. There are accelerators that essentially push out more dopamine, get more dopamine released, and there are brakes of the so-called GABAergic variety. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that nicotine both increases dopamine, but also decreases the activity of GABA. And so this is like pushing on the accelerator for dopamine, but also removing the brake. So there's a 2-pronged effect of nicotine on reinforcement reward dopamine-related pathways, the feel-good motivation pathways. And that is an increase in dopamine and a decrease in GABA. And again, that's all mediated through this mesolimbic reward pathway involving the ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens. Just understand, nicotine increases motivation, it decreases negative feelings of mood, it increases positive feelings of mood and motivation.